Very good morning to one and all. Welcome to the new video of our YouTube channel Nerdy Scientists. This video is very special because this video is dealing with monoclonal antibodies, which is the new revelation which has happened for the COVID-19 infection recently by the Israel Research Center. And this video actually discusses about different types of monoclonal antibodies, how it got actually originated, what is the history of monoclonal antibodies, and how it actually acts, what are the presently used monoclonal antibodies to target cancer. Especially this monoclonal antibodies has originated to actually treat cancer. Initially it is being widely used in cancer treatment for various therapies, and now we are here with a video on the same concept. So let's start off. So we need to discuss about cancer immunotherapy. As we know, immunotherapy is a kind of a treatment which uses certain parts of a person's immune system to fight diseases such as cancer. This can also be done in a couple of ways. There are different methodologies in which this immunotherapy is practiced. The first one is stimulating your own immune system to work harder or smarter to attack cancer cells. Giving you immune system components such as man-made immune system proteins is another way. Synthetically, if you actually produce those kind of proteins in a lab, then it's another way. And if you can actually stimulate your own system to work harder or smarter to attack cancer cells, it is one of the easiest method which people adopt. So these are the two kind of immunotherapies what people are actually using. So moving forward, there are actually various types of cancer immunotherapies. The main types of immunotherapy now being used at present to treat cancer include monoclonal antibodies, and the another one is immune checkpoint inhibitors. So what is about monoclonal antibodies? These are very much man-made versions of immune system proteins, and antibodies can be very useful in treating cancer because they can be designed to attack a very specific part of cancer cell. So specificity is very much important when you're dealing with cancer, because there are various types of cancers. As I actually discussed, there are more than 100 types of cancers. So specific action to the target site is very much important to actually kill or decimate cancer cells. So monoclonal antibodies actually very much helpful in that aspect. So the next one is immune checkpoint inhibitors. It's another type of immunotherapy where these drugs are actually taken and they take the brakes off the immune system, which helps it recognize and attack cancer cells. So the brakes, the obstacles which are actually behind this immune system, which actually guard the immune system, they remove that, which helps to recognize that and attack the cancer cells, protect the foreign cells. So another type of methodology. So these are presently the cancer immunotherapy treatments, types of cancer therapies which are being used, the cancer immunotherapy to be specific. Another type is a cancer vaccine. It's very prevalent. Vaccines are substances put into the body to start an immune response against certain disease. It could be any disease. So we usually think of them as being given to healthy people to help prevent infections, but some vaccines can help to prevent or treat cancer. So it's very essential that this part of or this type of methodology be given more importance. So there is another one, non-specific immunotherapies. These treatments boost the immune system. They actually be used to improve or enhance or harness the immune system in general way, but this can still help the immune system attack the cancer cells. So this can also be used, though it is non-specific, it can also be used to have a check on the cancer cells. They can attack the cancer cells and decimate the infection. So basically, what are antibodies? Let's go to the basics. Antibody is usually a protein used by the immune system to identify and neutralize the foreign objects like bacteria and viruses. Each antibody recognizes a specific antigen unique to its target. So it should be very much versatile. For that, it should be very much target specific. So an antibody, the ideal characteristic of an antibody is to be specific to the target site. So what are monoclonal antibodies now? These are antibodies that are very much identical because they were produced by one type of immune cell. I repeat, these monoclonal antibodies are actually produced by one type of immune cell, all clones of a single parent cell. Then what are polyclonal? Opposite to it. Their antibodies are derived from different cell lines. There are various cell lines, as you know, in cancer cell lines, there are various cancer cell lines. The same way, antibodies are derived from different cell lines. But in monoclonal antibody, it is actually derived from a single parent cell, and that's what makes it special and unique. So now coming to the structure of antibodies, how does actually an antibody looks like? For example, if you look at the structure here on your right, there are various parts in it. There is antigen binding sites at the top, complementary determining regions, variable antigen binding region, light chain, heavy chain, and all those kind of different composition, different parts in the antibody, and every part has its own function. So to actually make you understand clearly the antibody molecule, I had to show this picture to you all. So let's move forward. Now talking about the history of this antibodies, monoclonal antibodies, how it actually got started, where it got originated, and how this theories and principles started on monoclonal antibodies. The first time this antibodies were used or termed was in 1890. Von Behring and Kitasato, his student, discovered the serum of vaccinated persons contained certain substances termed as antibodies. They termed it as antibodies. And in 1900, we are very much known about it. Ehrlich proposed the side chain theory. In 1955, Germ postulated natural selection theory. Frank Burnett expanded it and then actually explained it theoretically. At the same time, Porter isolated fragment of this antigen binding site and fragment field developed a way to isolate hybrid cells from two parent cell lines using the hypoxanthine, aminopterin, thymidine selection media. From this culture selection media, they actually developed and isolated hybrid cells from two parent cells. At that point of time in 1964, it was very much difficult to do without technology, and they did it in 1964. In 1975, Kohler and Milstein provided the most outstanding proof of the clonal selection theory, which it was very much popular, and most of us actually go through this clonal selection theory by fusion of normal and malignant cells. So they used normal cells and malignant cells, and they combined both of them, and that was actually used as a proof for clonal selection theory. In 1990, Milstein again produced the first monoclonal antibodies, and that's how monoclonal antibodies got originated, got discovered. So Milstein, thanks to him, and because of his discovery, now we could actually use this monoclonal antibodies for cancer treatment, for various other infections, and now for COVID-19, we have actually got a breakthrough recently. So the next one is about how these monoclonal antibodies are effective in treating cancer. The immune system generally attacks a foreign substance in the body is by making large number of antibodies. We know that. An antibody is a protein that sticks to a specific protein called an antigen. We know this too. So antibodies circulate throughout the body until they find and attach to the antigen. Once attached, they can recruit other parts of the immune system to destroy the cells containing the antigen. So once they get attached, the antigens get attached, they can recruit other parts of the immune system to destroy the cells which are actually containing the antigen. So it's very, very important. This is how the mechanism of action is for any antibody, and it's the same for the monoclonal antibodies. Now you could see different mechanisms in this picture. How monoclonal antibodies can act through cellular immunoconjugates could be the mediations. Immunoliposome could be one of the type of mechanism of action. Immunocytokine can be used. Immunotoxins can be used. Radio immunoconjugates can be used. There are various kind of methodologies or types in this monoclonal antibodies which we are going to discuss. We will discuss few which are very much important in which are actually being used in this tumor targeting. There's multi-step targeting here. There are naked monoclonal antibodies. So these are various monoclonal antibodies which are being used for tumor targeting, and we have to still understand which kind of monoclonal antibody this Israel's Research Institute has actually identified as a breakthrough to decimate or to kill the infection of coronavirus in the body. So the types. So let's see the types. Now it's showing three types here. The murine source monoclonal antibodies is the first type. Then the second one is the chimeric monoclonal antibodies. The third is the humanized monoclonal antibodies. So murine source is like from it is actually taken from rodents. So rodents monoclonal antibodies with excellent affinities and specificities generated using conventional hydrioma technology, which is being used for producing this kind of antibodies from rodents. Clinical efficacy compromised by human anti-murine antibody response, which leads to allergic or immune complex hypersensitivity. So there are various hypersensitivity reactions which are actually caused due to these murine source monoclonal antibodies, but they are actually very much effective in treating tumor cells. The second one is the chimeric monoclonal antibodies. These chimers actually combine with the human constant regions with intact rodent regions. So it's actually the modification of a murine source monoclonal antibodies. Here we are using chimers, and we are combining the human constant regions with the intact rodent variable regions. So affinity and specificity is actually unchanged. It's actually the same, but it also causes human anti-chimeric antibody response, 30% murine resource. So it actually causes human anti-chimeric antibody response. To actually induce this kind of anti-chimeric antibody response, chimeric monoclonal antibodies are very much special. Now talking about the third type, humanized monoclonal antibodies. They contained only CDRs of the rodent variable region grafted onto the human variable region framework. On these, humanized monoclonal antibodies is actually very much prevalent now, very commonly used. These the derivatives of those two types, the first two types of monoclonal antibodies, these humanized monoclonal antibodies are being widely used in treatment of colon cancers right now, and they actually are derivatives, the most modified and as the name suggests, humanized monoclonal antibodies, and they are also being extracted from the rodent variable region, grafted onto the human variable region framework. So it actually gets combined with the human variable framework from the actually it's taken from the rodents and it's combined with the framework of humans. So that's why it is so special, and it contains only the cell directed receptors as CDRs. So there are the three types of monoclonal antibodies actually being designed right now and which are being used in various treatments and therapies. Now talking about the nomenclature, it's very simple. The last syllable is always MAB. The next to last is the various kinds depending on the name of the drug. So there are next to last syllables and previous syllables, as you actually see. The U human, it actually talks about the panitumumab drug, and ZU, if it is humanized, then you can actually use the term trastuzumab in the drug name. So the scientific names of drugs are designed when you actually, I mean, the monoclonal antibodies names are actually designed based upon what type of monoclonal antibody it is. And previous syllable we actually decide using whether it is circulatory or it is specific to the tumor in general. So if it is specific, you call it TU in the brackets M. If it is circulatory, you keep the R in the brackets, and behind it you keep CI. So these are few syllables which are actually being used to name or term different types of monoclonal antibodies. If for further understanding, you can go through the various research studies which actually describe about various monoclonal antibodies which are very much prevalent right now. So talking about few FDA approved naked non-conjugated monoclonal antibodies, we'll get to that. These are few generic names and brand names which are being marketed right now as FDA approved monoclonal antibodies which are non-conjugated. Naked means they're actually not combined, non-conjugated. So in that, the first comes the alemtuzumab, The brand name is Campat. CD52 is the target site, and it is used for various kind of cancers. Examples are colon cancer too. So the bevacizumab, another type of monoclonal antibody. Avastin is the brand name. VEGF is the target site. Very popular. VEGF is a very special site. We'll discuss about it in the next few videos. There are multiple cancers which we can actually treat using this monoclonal antibodies, and there are few more monoclonal antibodies as it is listed here, and it actually being used in various types of cancers. These are few examples given here, as it has been it's very much prevalent and very much common to be used in this kind of cancers, but there are more to be added to this monoclonal antibodies in the table, as the space doesn't help us to actually keep all those names. We actually consider to keep the best ones out of it. So these are few cancers which are being treated using these FDA approved monoclonal antibodies. So please go through it. So the next part is the types, another type of monoclonal antibody which is now being very much common. As I said, naked monoclonal antibodies. So naked monoclonal antibodies that work by themselves. That is very special property of this naked monoclonal antibodies. There is no drug or radioactive material attached to them. They are not at all conjugated, not combined with anything other than just monoclonal antibodies. These are the most common type of monoclonal antibodies that are used to treat cancer. Very special. As you saw the table, they are all monoclonal antibodies which are naked. They are not combined with any radioactive material or any kind of drug. That's what makes it special. Most naked monoclonal antibodies attach to antigens on cancer cells, but some work by binding to antigens on other non-cancerous cells or even free-floating proteins. So this is how these monoclonal antibodies, the naked monoclonal antibodies, act. So some actually bind to the antigens or other non-cancerous cells. Only most of them get attached to the antigens on cancer cells. So it's very important property of these monoclonal naked antibodies. So somehow there are few different ways in which these naked monoclonal antibodies act. Let's talk about it. Some boost a person's immune response against cancer cells by attaching to them and acting as a marker for the body's immune system to destroy them. For example, alemtuzumab, very popularly used for lymphocytic leukemia, chronic lymphocytic leukemia, as we saw it in the table. So alemtuzumab binds to the CD52 antigen, which is found in the cells called lymphocytes, which actually includes the leukemia cells. Once it gets attached, the antibody attracts the immune cells to destroy these cells. So see how it's acting. So some naked monoclonal antibodies boost the immune response by targeting the immune system checkpoints. So some target the immune system directly without the checkpoints. Some naked monoclonal antibodies actually target the immune system checkpoints to boost the immune system. So these are how different ways in which the monoclonal antibodies act. So we have to understand these kind of mechanisms so that when we actually go to the further research, when we actually do our masters, if you're actually interested in doing masters in cancer research, it's very much important that you understand all these things. So there are more to add. So other naked monoclonal antibodies work mainly by attaching to and blocking antigens on cancer cells. So whatever antigens which are present on the cancer cells, we need some naked monoclonal antibodies attack them, and they get attached and block those antigens to that help cancer cells grow or spread. So they specifically detect which antigen is helping this tumor cell to grow. They get attached to them, destroy them. That's how some naked monoclonal antibodies act. For example, trastuzumab is an antibody against the HER2 protein. Breast and stomach cancer cells, when you actually remember HER2, the first type of cancer which comes into our brain is breast cancer. So breast and stomach cancer cells sometimes have large amount of this protein on the surface. So actually these monoclonal antibody known as trastuzumab is actually being used to actually specifically target this HER2 protein and decimate it. So when HER2 is activated, it helps the cells to grow. These trastuzumab monoclonal antibody, naked monoclonal antibody, binds to these proteins and stops them from becoming active. It completely becomes inactive. HER2 When it actually becomes inactive, the tumor cells cannot grow. So very, very special characteristics you could see of this naked monoclonal antibodies, and there's lot of research going on these monoclonal antibodies, and you have to go through uh, no the various papers regarding naked monoclonal antibodies. Especially I suggest you to go forward and read various articles so that you actually get acquainted to different kind of naked monoclonal antibodies. We are keeping some of the most important monoclonal antibodies in this presentation, but please go through few papers and make yourself more acquainted to all this stuff. Now talking about conjugated, which are not naked, how these monoclonal antibodies actually act. So these MABs join to a chemotherapy drug or to a radioactive particle. In chemotherapy, we use this conjugated monoclonal antibodies because we actually combine with any anti-cancer drug during the chemotherapy or a radioactive particle. So these MABs is used as a homing device to take one of these substances directly to the cancer cells. The MAB circulates throughout the body until it can find and hook onto a target antigen. It takes time to this thing to happen. So it then delivers the toxic substance where it is needed most. This lessens the damage to normal cells in other parts of the body. So this is how they actually act. Conjugated monoclonal antibodies or MABs are also sometimes referred to as tagged or labeled or loaded antibodies. So these are a few terms which are actually being used by scientists in various research papers, like tagged, labeled, loaded antibodies, so that this terminology helps people to understand that these are conjugated. So this is how conjugated acts. Now talking about the radio-labeled antibodies specifically. So they have very, very small radioactive particles attached to them. For example, ibritumumab tioxetan is an example of radio-labeled monoclonal antibody. This is an antibody against the CD20 antigen, which is found on lymphocytes called B cells. B cells. So they are actually found, the CD20 antigen is actually found in the B cells. So the antibody delivers the radioactivity directly to the cancerous B cells and can be used to treat some types of non-Hodgkin lymphoma, very, very widely spreading cancer type. So treatment with this type of antibody is sometimes known as radioimmunotherapy. So it is actually known as radioimmunotherapy. There are side effects to it. We'll discuss about it later in the slides. Now talking about the chemo-labeled antibodies, another kind of a type of antibody, monoclonal antibody. So these monoclonal antibodies have very, very powerful chemotherapy drugs, very, very powerful. They are actually attached to these monoclonal antibodies. They are also known as the antibody drug conjugates, ADCs we call it. And these antibody drug conjugates, this drug is often too powerful to be used on its own. It would cause too many side effects if not attached to an antibody. That is the reason why we are using monoclonal antibodies to actually control its power. It's very, very powerful. Drugs are actually conjugated with monoclonal antibodies and chemo-labeled antibodies, which are widely used in various chemotherapies. So chemo-labeled antibodies is used to treat cancer include brentuximab vedotin, a very, very popular antibody that targets the CD30 antigen found on lymphocytes, attached to a chemo drug called MMAE. So this drug is actually used to treat Hodgkin lymphoma and anaplastic large cell lymphoma. So there are two kinds of most popular cancer types which are actually being treated using this brentuximab vedotin monoclonal antibody, the chemo-labeled antibody. So then another example, adotrastuzumab emtansine, also known as TDM1. It makes us easy. So it makes things easy to actually spell them. So an antibody that targets the HER2 protein, this is actually the antibody which actually targets HER2 protein. You know what's coming up. It actually helps in using the treatment of breast cancer. So it is used to treat breast cancer and whose cancer cells have too much HER2. So these are a few chemo-labeled antibodies and some examples. Now talking about the bispecific monoclonal antibodies. These drugs are made up of two different monoclonal antibodies. It's a combination of monoclonal antibodies, meaning they can attach to two different proteins at the same time. So at the same time, being attached to two different proteins, this is known as bispecific monoclonal antibodies. An example is blinatumomab. This is a different kind of spelling. This is very difficult to spell this kind of antibodies names. So people are actually trying to make shortcuts of it. So yeah, so blinatumomab, which is used to treat some types of acute lymphocytic leukemia, which is also known as ALL. All. So this is one of the example for bispecific monoclonal antibody. So one part of this blinatumomab attaches to the CD19 protein, which is found on some leukemia and lymphoma cells, and the other part attaches to CD3. Now see, different proteins, same antibody. So there are two parts of this monoclonal antibody. One is getting attached to CD19, found in leukemia and lymphoma cells, and another is CD3, which is attached to CD3 site, or the protein, CD3 protein, which is found on immune cells called T cells. So in the cases of multiple cancers, you don't know from where it got originated. These kind of bispecific monoclonal antibodies play a very important role. So it's very much important that these kind of antibodies act on different sites, different proteins, and help in inactivation of those kind of antigens or proteins which are actually helping in tumor growth in various organ sites. So this is actually used in the final third stages so that we can actually prevent the spread of cancer cells. So by binding to both of these proteins, this drug brings the cancer cells and immune cells together, which is thought to cause the immune system to attack the cancer cells. So they drive the immune system to attack the cancer cell, which is very much special property of bispecific monoclonal antibodies. Another different kind of monoclonal antibody. This is very special. So please go through various research articles. I repeat it, go through the papers. Now, talking about the side effects, there are various side effects which are actually caused due to the usage of monoclonal antibodies. Very common, like fever, chills, weakness, headache, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, low blood pressure, rashes. So these are a few very common side effects which actually being caused due to monoclonal antibodies usage. If it is excess of usage, you actually go through all these things. So there are a few common side effects which we had a thought of discussing with you all. So the next one. So specifically targeting few monoclonal antibodies which are actually causing few side effects. For example, bevacizumab is a monoclonal antibody that targets a protein called VEGF that affects tumor blood vessel growth. It can cause side effects such as high blood pressure, bleeding, poor wound healing, blood clots, and kidney damage. So these are few and I think it's very important that we discuss the side effects so that we can actually derive few methodologies in future to prevent these things from not happening. Cetuximab, another antibody that targets a cell protein called EGFR, which is found on normal skin cells, actually found in normal skin cells as well as in cancer cells. So this drug can cause serious rashes in some people after this excessive usage. So yeah, these things need to be considered and taken into consideration, and we have to try to actually create some a collab between two different monoclonal antibodies, and maybe it may prevent these kind of side effects from being caused. So it's very much important that we look over to these side effects and prevent them as soon as possible by our methodologies in future. So these are the few things scientists are working on. Now talking about the immune checkpoint inhibitors to treat cancer, specifically talking about cancer, immune checkpoint inhibitors, an important part of the immune system. This is ability to tell, like it has the ability to tell the between normal cells in the body and those it sees as foreign. So the thing which actually find out which is foreign, which is normal, is actually we can actually detect using the immune checkpoint inhibitors. So this lets the immune system attack the foreign cells while leaving the normal cells alone. To do this, it uses checkpoints, which are actually molecules on certain immune cells that need to be activated. So these are some of the molecules which are actually present on certain immune cells that need to be activated or inactivated to start an immune response. So very crucial role this immune checkpoint inhibitors play. So cancer cells sometimes find ways to use these checkpoints to avoid being attacked by the immune system. Sometimes they actually use this as they actually detect that this is actually causing a problem to them, so they actually target this initially. So see how cancer cells act. They're very, very intelligent. So sometimes they find ways to use the checkpoints to avoid being attacked by the immune system. So, but drugs that target these checkpoints hold a lot of promise as cancer treatments. So, scientists are very much interested in all these drugs which actually specifically target these checkpoints. It's very, very important that to find those kind of drugs or innovate those kind of drugs or discover those kind of anti-cancer drugs which are actually targeting these checkpoints. It's actually helpful in determining which is foreign, which is normal. So it's important uh, that we actually innovate few methodologies in future which can actually help in targeting, help the cancer anti-cancer drugs to actually target these checkpoints. So now talking about the non-specific cancer immunotherapies and adjuvants, there are a few non-specific immunotherapies also which we need to discuss. So non-specific immunotherapies don't target cancer cells specifically. They actually stimulate the immune system in a more generalized way, but this can still sometimes lead to better immune response against the cancer cells. So just see, they don't target cancer cells. They stimulate the immune system in more generalized manner, but this can still sometimes lead to a better immune response against cancer cells. So compared to the normal cancer therapy, these non-specific cancer immunotherapies are proving to be very much effective. So this is one of the most very good initiative taken up. So some non-specific immunotherapies are given by themselves as cancer treatments. So others are used as adjuvants along with the main treatment to boost the immune system. So some non-specific immunotherapies also happen with the this monoclonal treatment or the specific cancer treatment. There are few adjuvants. These non-specific cancer immunotherapies act as adjuvants to them to collaborate and to produce an effective action. So some are used by themselves against some cancers and as adjuvants against others. This is how they actually correlate things and combine these two specific and non-specific immunotherapies and to produce an effective action to give out good result finally. So now these are few monoclonal antibodies which are in actual development, they're not into the market. So these are the list of few: epratuzumab, matuzumab, nimozumab, zelatuzumab, pertuzumab, mapatumumab. So all these kind of monoclonal antibodies are still in treatment and in development, they're not into the market. We don't know what actually it can actually help in treating various kind of cancers. It is definitely very much effective, and we have a possibility that these monoclonal antibodies can actually have become different kinds in future. There may be more types of monoclonal antibodies can be discovered because all these are synthetically driven. So we can actually hope to see more monoclonal antibodies. So this resource is very, very important to actually prevent new viruses, to decimate. And these monoclonal antibodies have that kind of very effective importance and the potentiality to actually kill any kind of new infection is in the monoclonal antibodies. So it should be targeted. The scientists should target these kind of topics, these kind of research studies, and move forward to actually produce new kind of monoclonal antibodies in the future, so that you can actually see that no one is getting infected, no new viruses are coming up in the world. So this monoclonal antibodies has that potential because it can actually cure, it can actually prevent cancer cells to grow, which is the most heinous disorder which has actually affected the world from in the history. So if it can stop cancer, then why can't it stop a new virus? So monoclonal antibodies actually has proven again recently in the month of May, first week 2020, by actually saying that it can actually help in preventing COVID-19 infection. So this monoclonal antibody has the potentiality, I repeat it again, that it can actually kill or prevent any kind of new viruses coming into the world. So yeah, we come to an end of this presentation. I hope you all enjoyed and loved. I loved this presentation, and I hope that you all loved it. Please do subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Do share with your friends. Be fit, be healthy, be safe. Do take care of yourself. your parents, and then your grandparents. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Do follow our Nerdy Scientist Instagram page so that you get more information about the COVID 19 infection, cancer research, and more, a lot more. Whatever possibilities they are, we're actually trying to do our best during this lockdown to keep you entertained by these research studies. To all those science enthusiasts, we welcome you all to come up and join the family of Nerdy Scientists in the Instagram page and in this YouTube channel. So, yeah, thank you. I'll see you again. Stay tuned. Bye.